Well, it's a brand new month. And you got an extra hour's sleep last night, didn't you? How'd you like that? That's good, Frank. It's going to look good on video, too. I like it. We have fun here. And so the Centers for Spiritual Living, which is the worldwide organization to which we belong, has the theme, of course, for 2019, and it is Spirituality in Action. And the November theme is Spiritually Motivated Moral Leadership. And the value for the month is, what else? Spirituality. And today we're talking about divine wisdom knows and tells. Divine wisdom, infinite wisdom, everywhere present, is always available to give of its fabulous information to us, and it tells when we open up our hearts and minds and get quiet enough to listen. And sometimes that means tuning out what may be going on around us in order to get quiet enough to hear what God would have us hear, what we would have us hear to make a difference in whatever may be going on in our lives at that moment. Ernest Holmes, in his beautiful Voice Celestial that he wrote with his brother Fenwick Holmes, said, Turn then from the half-truths thy mortal mind, and go with me, nay, not to distant stars. The way of truth is never out, but in. And you've seen many times the sign in the window, the store window, that says, Inquire within. I take that very seriously. I would like to ask something greater than I am, but right where I am, wouldn't you? For the answer, whatever the question may be. I have a wonderful brain, and so do you. But that brain is the instrument through which divine mind expresses itself. That brain is a wonderful, wonderful instrument, but let's not believe that of itself it can figure things out. Oh, it's wonderful. I know you have great degrees. I mean, this is here in this part of Pennsylvania, I have found that we have some of the brightest people in the world, the best educated, because we have amazing educational institutions, right? You have to be smart to live here. So our brains are wonderful, but all by themselves, you take that out of your head, it's not going to do a lot of thinking for you. So let's leave it where it is. This is the right time and the right place for us to open our brains to the infinite mind and allow the brain to become this beautiful instrument of inspiration and motivation, intuitive knowing, and infinite wisdom. So how do we know the difference between right and wrong? As I was asking, right and wrong. As I was asking all the children here this morning before they went upstairs to their fun day school. How do we know the difference between what's helpful and what's hurtful, what's beneficial and what's perhaps blockading? It is turning within to that infinite wisdom. Because there'll be a lot of opinions, won't there? Well, I think you ought to do this. We know it's in the best interest of everybody to do that. Oh, I don't think that's good for you. Oh, that's exactly what you need. Have you heard any of those opinions from any of your friends and relatives? Okay, well, that's very nice. Say, thanks for sharing. And then let's go on into that place where all the answers exist. I remember many, many years ago, a ministerial student colleague of mine, who ultimately went on to become a minister as I did, was marrying a Jewish fellow. And so I was attending her wedding, and it was they made a huppah in the backyard of one of her dear friends. And they had both a religious science minister and a rabbi. And it was a beautiful wedding, and the rabbi, they found, I think, had just finished his rabbinical studies, and he was a very young man, and it looked like he had just borrowed somebody's robe because it was a little short for him. And he had scuffy brown shoes and the biggest heart in the world, and we just adored him. So the religious science minister and the rabbi walked into no. Boink. That's another story. They're under the chuppah in this lovely garden, and they're taking turns sharing with my friends Diane and Howie. And at one point, this beautiful young rabbi says, now, everything, all the music in the world that's ever been written is written on your soul. And you know it. And so he says, I'm going now to begin to sing this lovely, it was of course a minor key melody. And he said, and you'll be singing along with me. And we're going, right. He began to sing, and we all joined him. It was miraculous. And at the end, when we finally stopped, he said, see, you remembered. You remembered. There is this beautiful memory within us all that we all share. And it is divine. And we're all part of the one mind, therefore we're all part of each other. And so everything is there that we need. Why do we forget to go there? Why do we take public opinion polls? This is a good day to remember that we can always remember who we are, whose we are, and that delicious pool of divine wisdom that resides within each and every one of us. Our fine minds, our experiences, and our outside opinions can only take us so far. They're valuable, but they can only take us so far in determining the best course of action, whatever the question may be. Plotinus, who followed the teachings of Plato and then developed some ideas of his own, he said, there are three ways by which we gather knowledge: through science, through opinion, and through intuition or illumination. These channels represent spiritual capacities, since each is an avenue leading to self-knowingness. And self-knowingness is the very nature and essence of spirit. Science is spirit inducing its own laws. This is Ernest Holmes taking over here now. Intuition is spirit knowing itself. Opinion is our estimate of reality. All are spiritual faculties and should be so considered in the study of this science. The race is growing into a broader divinity from age to age, as more and more of reality opens before in its onward march in its eternal process. There's something going on in the universe. There is something that is a beautiful evolutionary process within all sentient beings. And we're part of it. You see how juicy that is to realize we're a part of the evolutionary process. And no matter what the opinions may be, what the challenges may be, what's going on immediately in our personal lives, in our country, in the world itself, and there's a lot going on, whatever it is, the answers are within us. And the evolutionary process is such a beautiful thing that we cannot help but be a part of, that it's important for us to wake up to that fact, that truth, that eternal truth, that we are a part and parcel of a moving sea of deepening and broadening and heightening spirituality. We're moving into a new era. We've been moving into it. And as we move into it, the old ways sometimes become louder. Have you noticed? And it's, in some ways, maybe a death rattle, because you can't keep going on with those human solutions that become part of the problem rather than the divine solution. We can't keep holding to the things that never did work. You know, it's like everybody knows about walking down the street, falling into the hole, and then the next day walking down the street, falling into the hole, and then the next day walking down the street and going, oh, there's a hole there. Maybe I'll walk around it. And maybe the next day, walk down a different street. You know? We've got to let go of the ways we thought we always had to do things in order for us to be inspired from within our individual and our combined hearts to find some new solutions to make a difference in a way we may never have thought of before. I'm going to quote from a woman who sends you a Tuesday message every week. From the pen of the minister. May I do that? Okay, it's a little weird, but I'm going to do that anyway. First, she quotes from Joel Goldsmith. God is infinite intelligence, infinite wisdom, and infinite understanding. There is never a need for us to tell God anything or to ask anything of God, except perhaps for more light, more understanding, more vision. And I understand that the last words of Goethe were, more light, more light. That's what we want, is more light, right? More inspiration, more illumination, more wisdom. So she goes on to say, the age-old question, I really need to get this fixed, huh? The age-old question about knowing right from wrong is answered simply and powerfully in the realization that infinite wisdom resides within us and is available to us instantly. Instantly. See, we're a group of people who don't like to have to wait, right? I once knew a person who said, I don't do lines. He didn't do lines. And if we would go somewhere, he would just give enough money to the maitre d' that we never had to stand in line. I don't do lines. We don't want to wait. Sometimes it's a good thing to wait. Sometimes patience is a nice thing to develop. But the truth is, we can have infinite wisdom instantly. We need only to turn from any confusing situation or condition and open our hearts and our minds to that which is appropriate in each situation. No matter how deep the bewilderment, how present the uncertainty, or how widespread the fear, God has the answer and does not hesitate to provide it. But sometimes we're going, la, 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 and we're not going to want to listen to it. Why would we do that? It doesn't even make sense, does it? Why would we not receive the greatest gift, which is an illuminated answer to the question we may have? It is only we who place unnecessary and unwanted barriers to the steady flow of divine intelligence. And it is only we who are capable of dissolving them by turning to that great guidance which is infallible. It is not more but less striving, and not willpower, but sweet surrender that allows us to access the peaceful possibilities ready to come forth with our faith-filled invitation. As we relax into God's grace, continuing to inquire within, the answers are easily revealed, and life fulfills itself harmoniously and powerfully by means of each of us. Now, see how simple that is? Isn't that simple? Is it easy? It can be quite easy. It can be just as Elise was singing in the song. Easy, gentle. Wouldn't we like to live our lives that way? Do we realize that it is possible to do so? Our inner wisdom is always available, and it can be trusted. I think we might need to develop a deeper sense of trust to that still small voice within us. It starts out as a still small voice, and then it might become louder if we're not paying attention to it. Let's listen to it before it becomes a whack alongside the head. Let's understand that it is for us. It is our divine nature speaking up. And all we need to do is surrender to it and listen. That's where we get, when we quiet this busy mind and still the confused heart, this is when we get what I like to call the divine download. You know what I mean, don't you? Aren't there times that you've been inspired when you weren't expecting it, just because you got quiet enough? Remember, Jesus said, when you pray, go in the closet and shut the door. This is the door that we need to shut. Just get quiet enough to get the download and then write it down right away. Isn't it interesting? Sometimes in meditation we get this great inspiration, and then an hour later we go, what was it that the divine told me today? Have a little journal next to wherever you meditate. Jot down what great inspiration may have come for you, through you. And it's always through us, isn't it? That doesn't mean to say we can't pick up scripture, in anybody's scripture. It doesn't mean we can't pick up Christian scripture or the Hebrew Bible or Rumi or something that inspires us, a Buddhist tradition, Hindu. Pick up some scripture and something resonates with something within us that goes, yes, yes. That can inspire us and illuminate us too. But it's always the within that determines what definitely, powerfully, peacefully, gently is ready to guide us to whatever the answer is, to whatever the question may have been. Quiet the busy mind. Open the eager heart. Don't you know how eager our hearts are for truth? How eager we are to experience that fulfilling sense of I'm not alone in this universe, and the universe is for us. And the divine mind provides, and the infinite heart embraces, loves, nurtures, and supplies us with every answer to any need that may arise. There's something wonderful that awaits us all. I wonder what that could be. Wouldn't it be great to find out? We have to ask, right? I was talking to one of our dear practitioners the other day and asking something about something we want to work through here in our center. And I said, do you have any ideas about that? And the answer was, well, no, not offhand, but we can ask infinite wisdom. We can ask infinite wisdom. What do you know about that? We can ask infinite wisdom. And we will never be disappointed, ever, because we can count completely upon that divine life which brought us into being out of its own divine self and has implanted within each of us, within all sentient beings, the same qualities that this divine life itself is created from. It's uncreated. We are created from it. The life, the love, the light, the peace, the power, the beauty, and the joy. If you know those qualities, say them with me. Life, love, light, peace, power, beauty, and joy. All of those reside within us. And the light is the wisdom. It's the illumination. It's that which opens our eyes and our minds and our hearts to something that's more true than what we may have been believing 5 minutes or a day or 10 years before that. It really does not matter. It doesn't matter a bit what you may have believed yesterday. When the illumination takes place and the infinite wisdom begins to express through us, it's like love has washed over us. Wisdom has washed over us, and we are made new. We are made new by the renewing of our minds and hearts. And we're made new by that divine intelligence, that infinite wisdom that keeps wanting to express itself. It knows, and it tells when we open our hearts and minds to listen. Infinite wisdom. Do you feel it within you? See, you remembered. You remembered. Every time we are gifted with a new insight, we've remembered. Let's keep remembering. Will you say with me, I listen deeply to my divine guidance. I take the high road every time. And so, my beloveds, beginneth our lesson. Thank you.